And first, we're going to be looking at the front page of the New York Times. So listen up. All right, so today we're going to go straight into our weather, right? So today is going to be partly sunny and a bit breezy in the high 82. Tonight is going to be partly cloudy with a low of 87, 67. And tomorrow you will have increasing clouds, perhaps turning a little rainy, cooler in the highs of the 75. And of course, if you're an avid reader of the New York Times, the weather map is on page B7. So we're going to be browsing through the front page, and we have topics like economic pain waits in wings at every level. Post office says ballots may fail to arrive in time. Every state is being warned. Slow down fuels charges Trump in attempting to hinder voting. And this article was done by Luke, Haley, and Nick. So the Postal Service has warned states that it may not be able to meet their deadlines for delivering last-minute mailing ballots, further fueling the clash over the new Postmaster General's handling of vote-by-mail operations as President Trump continued to rail against the practice. In letters sent in July and to all 50 states and the Districts of Columbia, Thomas J. Marshall, the General Counsel for the Postal Service, told most of them that certain deadlines for requesting and casting mail-in ballots are incongruous with the Postal Service's delivery standards. Quietly, Greece casts refugees adrift in rafts. So the Greek government has secretly expelled more than 1,000 refugees from Europe's borders in recent months, sailing many of them to the edge of Greek territorial waters and abandoning them to inflatable and sometimes overburdened life rafts. Ooh. Since March, at least 1,072 asylum seekers have dropped at sea at Greek officials at least 31 separate expulsions, according to an analysis of evidence by the New York Times from 3 independent watchdogs, 2 academic researchers, and the Turkish Coast Guard. The Times interviewed survivors from 5 of those episodes and reviewed photographic or video evidence from all 31. Let's shimmy on down to the bottom of the paper. A swimmer finds his pool. Reddy Garcia Tolson attempts to make a 5th Paralympic swim team after 3 years of retirement lacked a key element, a pool where he could train. Find fame, a team effort. Toby, a Houston rapper and singer, has found his new audience with a song about the police killing of Breonna Taylor. And to read more about that, you can check in on page 5. And that's just a quick glimpse of the front page of the New York Times. I'm your girl, DJ Marsha J, and you are inside Weekends with Marsha J. And now we go to the Caribbean Roundup with Mr. Akilim Hamilton. Good morning, Akilim.
Good morning, Marsha. How are you this morning?
Listen, I am feeling fantastic. How are you doing over there in Jamaica?
I am good. I'm sipping my cup of coffee. I have my computer in front of me, and I'm just feeling the morning breeze blow through my ear.
Listen, Caribbean breeze is some good breeze. You know that, right?
I tell you, man.
All right, so I'm going to hand it over to you, Akilim. Go right ahead.
Well, so we have quite a few things happening in the Caribbean. So I'm going to jump over to Jamaica, where a lot of excitement's been happening. You would have known last week we would have celebrated our independence and emancipation.
Yes.
But I'll get into that a little later. So on Tuesday of last week, the Prime Minister, on Tuesday of this week, the Prime Minister and Your Highness just announced the date for upcoming general election. Thursday gone, our parliament was dissolved because on the 18th of August would be nomination day, and waving our flags because on September 3rd, general election. So come out in your numbers to use your democratic right to vote. But let me sip a cup of tea for that. This new piece I'm gonna go in, I tell you. So Jamaica has now had a third party come into the mix we're usually traditionally two parties. Now we have a third party coming into the mix, the
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica Progressive Party, JPP. They have unveiled an elaborate manifesto with several plans, including repaying all the country's debt within 90 days after election. This
Wow.
Christian-based political party is led by Gilbert Alexander Edwards, a returning resident from the United States. Now let me sip this cup of tea. Mr. Alexander Edwards says the Prime Minister and leading governor in Jamaica Labour Party, Andrew Holness, is threatened by the third party. They planned to have minimum wage of over $65,000 per week, free education up to tertiary level, student loan forgiveness. And you know, I'm a part of that, people. I'm repaying student loan. So, you know, this becoming a reality is something I'm up for. Free healthcare are some of the things that will become a reality. The JPP, if the JPP is elected to form the government of the country in the next general election. This is according to the president of the JPP, Gilbert Alexander Edwards. He plans to finance this through all of his own funds. So that is something to look towards in this coming election. Now, I'm going to get back on this story. Then the last week of July, almost reaching our Emancipation and Independence Week. That's the first week of August. The Jamaican High Court ruled that a school was within its right to demand a girl to cut her dreadlocks to attend classes. This was a surprising decision that touched on issues of identity and one of the most recognizable symbols of the Island Rastafarian movement. Let me just give you a couple of minutes to soak that in.
Wow.
You get it?
Yeah.
Going into the conversation. Now, the ruling by the Supreme Court was capped by a 2 years battle after the girl, a minor, 5-year-old, was told she must cut her hair for hygiene reasons to study at Kensington Primary School in Kingston suburb. Please be guided that the child was never barred from school during this period.
Wow.
Anyway, in August, they released the ruling, the details of the ruling. So just days after the Jamaica Supreme Court that the school had barred the 7-year-old, the parents had declined to cut the dreadlocks. A school official says she would not permit, the school officially says that they should permit the girl from attending school. They were never blocking her. There was no idea of blocking the child from attending school. As Reverend Alvin Bailey, as the chairperson of the school, Kensington Primary, located just outside of Kingston, said there is no question as to the attendance of the child. From the offset, no decision was taken to bar the child from the school.
Wow.
The Virgos, that's the parents of the child, said there is no justice. They are still infringing upon the rights and the ruling that says once have locks, you are a nasty person. The country that you're a citizen of should protect her. And if they do not do so, then we will protect her. Shireen and Daly Virgo Foles. They also wear dreadlocks. They had launched this constitutional challenge in 2018 with the help of the human rights group Jamaica for Justice, and they do not identify as Rastafarian, but they say that wearing a natural hairstyle is an expression of their identity. But this is what the judge says. In an opinion released on Monday by Judge Sonia Linton, says the school was within its right to impose a policy of no bead, no braids, no locks of hair. The school, through its principal, indicated that her locks are permitted as there is a possibility that the hairstyle would lead to lice and jungle. Those are mole infestation.
Wow.
It is in my view that hygiene is a legitimate aim, said the judge. The objective of creating a more controlled, hygienic environment is important to proper order and effective learning at the school. She writes that the rule did not prevent the girl from enjoying religious freedom and the expression of the rights or religious choice and cultural ethnicity to which her parents subscribe in their household. Kensington Primary School allows children to wear dreadlocks if they state that they're Rastafarians. So the family lawyer, Isaac Buckingham, confirmed that they will appeal. Dreadlocks are banned because it causes lice and jungle, but there are exceptions for Rastafarian, they said. So that was Jamaica. That was a roundup of Jamaica. This is a whole conversation that's still ongoing.
Yes, thank you so much.
Let me just jump into Trinidad. One as a last topic for the day. Trinidad had their election, we all know, on August 10, 2020. And in this election, we know that the People's National Movement won the election by 22 seats to the UNC, that's United National Congress, 19 seats. So this one particular individual of the UNC made a post. This is a conversation going on in Trinidad, and she rants online on Facebook. Let the hardworking UNC supporters continue to pay taxes and mind the loafers that support the PNM. I hope Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowling start putting contraceptive in their water supply because these cockroaches keep populating and the only thing they know to do is vote. I'm going to leave you with that note because this is a conversation we will follow up in next week. Yes.
Okay. All right. So that was the Caribbean Roundup with Mr. Akilim Hamilton. We're going to go straight into hot topics, but right before we do that, we'll be right back after this break.
It says when the principals are up close and personal now, she realized that she wear locks and she pulled me one side and she said, "Mommy, you know, this is a no lock school." So I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "No, man, we don't. Dreadlocks is not a part of our school culture here." So I said, "Why?" "No, Mommy, you don't. I have experience over how much years. This is a problem. You know, she's pulled out kids out of classroom. She have to wash them here because parents don't take care of them here. And, you know, John the farm another here. And she's had lice outbreak where Rasta people, you know." So I said, okay. But you've seen her here all this time before. You never chose to bring this up. This is not our first time meeting. You know, it's very last minute. How am I going to find a school now to put her in if this is the case? I said, "What are the exceptions?" She said, "No exception, Mommy. She just don't want a dreadlock in her school." So I said, "There's no alternative, no nothing." She said, "No, get rid of the locks or find somewhere to put her."
There are some who are in that old mindset, and there are some who are with us, but they are afraid to, you know, speak out against it. You know what I mean? You know, you cannot follow the usual trend. You know, try to make a change. You know what I mean? Come on. Yeah, love your country enough to want it. You know, I mean, have a sense of national pride, you know, in our identity. You know, I mean, they're saying that you have, you know, if we said that, oh, we're Rastas, you know, it would be gone clear. But you know what? My religious view is my religious view, and that's my. That's my private right, you know? And, right. You know, I mean, I'm not about to discuss what my views are, but, you know, I mean, you see, I go around the place, you know, and I'm see, and I say, "Yo, Russ, when you don't have lots, when people say, I say, Russ."
Yeah. Right.
You know, it's an identity.
It's an identity.
And you as a musician, when you go around the place, like you tour, you know, people see you and them warm
celebration. Yeah,
it's a celebration of our look and our Rasta and our locks and our culture. Anywhere outside.
And you are inside Hot Topics. It's boiling hot this morning. We have with us in studio Lady Lamoy Rowe, and she is an educator, but not just an educator, but she's an educator that wears locks. Good morning, Lamoy. How are you? Oh, yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay,
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
I am blessed. I'm blessed.
Awesome.
Had favored too.
Listen, it's a great time to be alive. But in your capacity this morning, you are here to discuss a very, very hot topic, which we know is going on in Jamaica. You're a Jamaican educator, as well as you're an educator that wears locks. So we've heard the clip this morning and what's been going on through the Caribbean Roundup about this little girl who wears locks and was banned from school because she literally wore locks, and her parents and a couple other persons have to be speaking out like, oh, what is this? So I want to know from you this morning, what are your thoughts, Lamoy?
Marsha, I have quite a few different views where this whole issue is concerned, because at first when it was just aired, I was extremely upset. For one, my personal views, because I label myself as a Christopherite.
Yes.
May have heard the term before. But yes, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I also wear dreadlocks. I am passionate when it comes to my hair. I'm at a point where if my school asks me not to get rid of my hair or not teach, then I'll choose to not teach. Wow. I will not get rid of my hair. And there are aspects of the Rastafarian religion that I keep close, like the eating, the living, the loving, nature, all of that combined together. So I combine it and say I am a Christopherite. But I'm one of those persons who vocalized the issue on Facebook, and I was ranting. I was extremely upset in regards to the principal's I think it's her opinion. But first, let me just shed a little light on the whole issue. Why it is that the Virgos thought that they actually lost the case. They lost the case on the basis that there's a guideline, the principal's permission right, that a principal will have the ministry's guideline, and then she can have her own as like a stem from ministry's guideline that is fitting to her school. So there are a lot of issues where this is concerned. So because of her experience having to deal with unkept dreadlocks here, she made it a rule to not have dreadlocks in her school. This is why she won the case, because she has the permissible right to adjust the ministry's rule to fit her school. Now, this is where I knock her hard, where I think it's a little bit classist and derogatory as well, because for one, as much as the dreadlocks can take up lice, and it is unsanitary, and natural hair that is cornrow or plaited can take up lice as well. So to just pick out dreadlocks, I think she went over her head. And this is what has upset a lot of people, because our natural hair is what identifies us as a people. It's what sells us as Jamaicans. Because I can walk overseas in peace with my dreadlock without people touching my hair. May I see your hair? Can I feel it? Oh my God, your hair is so awesome. Are you a Rastafarian?
Yeah, and let's not forget the legendary Bob Marley. He definitely was a Rastafarian, and he put Jamaica on the map. Yeah.
Right. Not all that, not just that. Apart from Bob Marley, Rastafarians are the ones who sell our music. That's how we earn. We're looking on Chronics and Coffee and Buju Banton, all of those, they do wear dreadlocks. So even if you're not a Jamaican and you walk in anywhere overseas and you have dreadlocks, people just think you're a Jamaican.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of Americans, even white people, they have their dreadlocks because they want to be associated with Jamaica.
Right.
They love this country so much that this is what makes them feel close to being Jamaica.
So
Okay.
for one, I think that this issue could have been dealt with better. It shouldn't have been in the forefront in the first place, but it is there so that we can correct the system. I call it a mental slavery system where
Okay,
we
one
see
moment, Lamoy. I kind of hear like your mic is breaking, so I'm not sure if the phone is shaking a little bit much, but you can just adjust that and go ahead and finish your sentence.
Okay, are you hearing me better?
Yes, it's great. Thank you.
I think it's the reception where I'm at. I'm saying I kind of see it as a mental slavery attitude and mentality. If we are going to block children from their self-expression from themselves, I mean, it's the hair that grows from their scalp. And what irritates me most is that we accept sewing hair, we accept wigs, we accept everything else, but we look down, and it's not now, it's years that the dreadlock has been looked down as being nasty and unkept. I can tell you that my hair is always clean, not fuzzy, always beautifully groomed. And I think the 21st century and 20th century Rastafarians are not the bubble dreads used to have 4 strands stick up in them head and it looks dirty. Most of the locks that we're now having is unkept.
Yes. I mean, this issue is so big. Yeah, this issue is so big that it actually made it to the Washington Post, you know, and this is very critical. August 5th, 2020, we have Kate Chappell writing a full-blown article on this issue. It's just to share a bit of it. Days after Jamaica Supreme Court ruled that a school may bar a 7-year-old because her parents declined to cut her dreadlocks. A school officially said she would be permitted, not be permitted to attend class, would be permitted to attend class in September after all. There's no question as to the admittance of the child, as you had mentioned. Reverend Alvin Daly, chairman of the board of the Kensington Primary School, located just outside Kingston. From the outset, no decision was taken to bar the child from the school, and the Prime Minister is now reacting, and he's saying it's time to review and amend the Education Act to reflect a modern and culturally inclusive position that protects our children from being barred from any educational institution on the basis of wearing locks. So we see, even, you know, this is not a very light case. If the Prime Minister has directly spoken out about it, you know, it's definitely a big deal. Lamoy, joining us this morning also is Mr. Akilim Hamilton, and he is currently a law student. Good morning, Akilim.
Thank you. Hi, Marsha. Thanks
yes,
for
and I just want you to
again.
Go ahead and share. Yes, again.
So when I read the original take on the article, it was a call for concern, as Amoy said, it was a call for concern, especially just a few days away from what we would have considered an independence and our Emancipation and Independence Week of celebration, right? A liberated country and the people being liberated. That's when this ruling came out. And it was weird to me. But I had to take a step back before I started to talk about it or look at it, because sometimes human rights can be tricky.
Yes.
Human rights, you have to learn to strike the balance between each party's rights.
Right.
The school did not just bar dreadlocks. It barred braids. It barred wearing weaves. It's a general thing. You don't wear weaves, go primary school. That's a general thing. Once it can be detected, then I'm gonna tell you to go back home and take it out. That is clear. You don't, but dreadlocks, weaves, braids, and other things that may pose a health risk at the school should have the right to say, hey, we cannot allow this to come in because this is gonna affect everybody. If there's a outbreak, everybody, we're gonna have to shut down, and we're gonna go through health situation, and we're gonna go through health. To avoid all of this, we're gonna ask you to do this. I think the principal went far to tell the parent to cut the hair. That was far. Yeah. I think she should have just stopped and says, can you do something with the hair to make it more open, to reduce the possibility of that? And if you can prove that to me, then the child will be permitted. But let's be clear, the school did not bar the child from attending during this whole period from to start the school to the point where hair reached a very high length. They didn't bar the child. They allowed the child to come to the school. But the call for concern is health. Now, that is the school's right. Now compare it. Apologies. Now compare that right, or put that right against the right of the child. The child has a right to education, as according to the under the education legislation act. The child has a right to education. It was even a slogan. Every child I have to learn. Every child must learn. Right? So it's learning is the forefront. So and every child should go to school. That is not a question. That's not a question. That's a must under the Ministry of Education. So now to look at the right of the child to education and the right of for everybody to be in a safe and healthy environment of learning. That is also a right underneath the same legislation. Balancing it becomes a problem, right? And that was a position the court had to look into. Now, it's something we really always have to take in consideration before making any form of judgment on any matter. The right of all the individual at the moment. As I said, that was something that we had to look into before we were able to make a decision. And I believe the court ruled it properly, in my opinion, and striking the right of everybody versus the right of just one child. But the child still must be allowed to go to school anyway. So that's just my take on it.
Thank you so much, Akilim, for sharing this morning. Lamoy, just to kind of wrap up this segment, what would you say to, because I think we are thinking about the child, but as an educator, go into the mind of the student that may have had to sit in the middle of all of this chaos and hear what is being said about their hair. And we already have issues as Black women accepting ourselves, accepting our hair for what it is. What would you say to that child?
Just a little bit here to Marsha. As he was saying, when I just heard about the issue, I was really upset. But then when I looked in all the aspects of it as an educator, right, I had to step back myself. And even when the court ruled, I realized that the court ruled in the right of everyone, because guess what? The child's right was not any at all. And the parent right as well as the school. So I think the newspaper kind of played on everybody's emotion where dreadlocks is concerned and made it into a bigger issue than it really is, because the child was still attending school. I want to be honest and open here. And if I was the parent, I would have dealt with it from the principal's perspective, then the Ministry of Education, before putting it out into the media. Because by placing it into the media, I place my child in the spotlight. And when I place my child into the spotlight, I have everyone looking at her. Even though she's only 5 at the time and 7 now, she's on social media as well, because these children are digital natives. Okay, and she understands what is going on. So an issue that would have possibly blown off in a couple of minutes now is going to just, it's going to stay with that child, and she's going to always read the chaos going on just about her. What I'm glad for though is that they said that she's operating at the front of her class. She's first in all her subject areas and she's doing exceptionally well. But what will and may happen to her later on is that it may lower her self-esteem. She may grow up and cut her dreadlocks because she's going to see it as being nasty and unkept and possibility of getting lice, and that will affect her. And I'm going to tell her that a child's self-esteem affects their learning even more than not having lunch. We have to fight daily with children who don't know themselves, who don't accept themselves, who don't see themselves as being beautiful. They bleach themselves because they want to be white, they want to be brown, they cream their hair because they want to look like the white person. And I don't think we're teaching much in the schools of Black children accepting themselves as being Black. So this is going to affect her, no doubt. Mommy and Daddy Virgo have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yes, they do.
is concerned. I mean, she's doing well now because they're good parents. We can see that. And they've been working with her. But when she's by herself and those little thoughts start creeping in, when she reaches teenage years and she remember all of that and the article is still there on the internet for her to see, then she's going to fight with her identity. And that's where the real trouble is going to start, the teenage years.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lamoy, for being with us this morning. Listen, I told you this morning that our topic is going to be boiling. And listen, the pots are rumbling in the kitchen and the water is coming over on the side. Thank you so much, Lamoy, for being with us this morning. And also, Mr. Akeelim Hamilton, for sharing your views. This has been Hot Topics. Boy, it's hot this morning. Hot, 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 hot. All right. Thank you so much. And we hope to have you on again, Lamoy. Take care.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Marsha.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
Walking in your favor and your glory, taking back all my territory. The hand of God is gone before me. Closed doors are open for me.
Speak life. Stay connected. Live on purpose. Transforming lives through uplifting entertainment and radical conversations, keeping you connected to relevant and empowering information. You're listening to UMERADIO.
My name is Marsha J, international recording artist, and you are inside Weekends with Marsha J.
Grateful, grateful, grateful.